it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com with this week's episode of the Rogues Alley. This week I'm going to go back to a deck that I built, I think right before rotation with the Descent of the Dragons. Now that we have some pretty cool cards to work around, it's really when the Cryptolith Rite was spoiled in Shadows of Innistrad. I always thought that it paired up really well with the Thopter Engineer. Now I did see a deck list in a standard league that went 5-0 using this combo to try to ramp into Ulamogs and Dragonlord Atarkas. So I thought I'd try it out with the Descent of the Dragons. So Descent of the Dragons combo is going to be Dragon Tempest, Descent of the Dragons, and enough tokens. Dragon Tempest also has whenever a creature with flying enters the battlefield under control, it gains haste. So the haste works really well with Whirler Rogue and Pia and Kiran Nalaar with the Cryptolith Rite, as you can get immediate value out of them. They can tap for mana, you can hold it up for like sideboarded negates and whatnot. Or they can just attack in for that bit of damage. And then, of course, Dragon Tempest and Descent of Dragons just has so much synergy together with the giving your dragons haste, plus giving your dragons the ability to, they see each other when they all come into play and do that much damage. So that's what we're going to try to assemble, is just this combo here. Hangarback Walker is a wonderful, wonderful target with Descent of Dragons. On either mode, either if Hangarback Walker is still alive, you can sacrifice the Descent of Dragons. The Dragon Tempest will then give your Hangarback Walker tokens haste, and you can attack in with them. If the Hangarback Walker is dead and you have a lot of 1/1 Thopter tokens out, then you can also sacrifice all the Thopters to the Descent of Dragons, and then of course you get a ton of 4/4s rather than just the 1/1s. They have haste, and you can easily swing in for lethal. So that's really what we're trying to assemble here. So I'm not quite sure the numbers. The other list that I saw that was using like the Thopter Engineer was using like Blister Pod and Elvish Visionary, and I just think that Pal's Familiar having haste is kind of the Elvish Visionary in this type of deck. When it dies, you draw a card. I'm only down to a 2 because I thought Pilgrim's Eye needed to fix. We're running a lot of basics. And it's also a 1/1 flying for 3 mana, gets a land. We do have a bunch of doubles in here. We do need as many green sources as possible. So anyway, Cryptolith Rite decks with Thopter Engineers usually end up having a lot of mana to play around with. And so that's where we're running Evolutionary Leap and Duskwatch Recruiter. These are kind of like our mana dumps, is what we like to call them. And as soon as we start getting enough of the tokens out and the Cryptolith Rite, and you're out of cards in your hand, that's where Evolutionary Leap and Duskwatch Recruiter can fill back up your hand. Loam Dryad is just in here to help fix mana. It's also in here to accelerate your deck. I thought about being extremely greedy and putting in, instead of the mountains here, putting in Battlefield Forge and then Eldrazi Displacer. Just how well Eldrazi Displacer works with the Whirler Rogues and Pia and Kiran Nalaar is you can actually, with Cryptolith Rite and the Whirler Rogue and Pia and Kiran Nalaar, you can actually just keep you have to be able to, once per turn though, you can almost net up mana with the Whirler Rogues with the Cryptolith Rite can then tap for the 2 mana, and then if you have another colorless source like the Yavimaya Coast or the Shivan Reef or the Westvale Abbey, then you can actually do it again. And so it basically means Eldrazi Displacer is only 1 mana, only 1 colorless mana to flicker something, and you can get out of control with those Thopter tokens. So with the Cryptolith Rite, the Loam Dryad, and like splashing in Battlefield Forge, I think that putting in an Eldrazi Displacer actually wouldn't be too tough. I might have to try it out. I decided against it just because, man, that's a lot of lands dealing damage to me. The only really good thing to flicker would be the Whirler Rogue, Pia and Kiran Nalaar, and Thopter Engineer. After that, these other cards are I guess we have Faerie Miscreant, but then I'd really want like Elvish Visionary over the Pal's Familiar to flicker with the, just to have another target to get value out of. So we might try an Eldrazi Displacer in the deck. I don't know, just a 1/0 would probably be the right call. But then again, you probably want to put Battlefield Forge instead of either the Cinder Glades or the mountains here. And then you start dealing damage every time you use it. I mean, we already have 8 ways we're dishing damage to ourselves. We are a little bit vulnerable to aggressive decks because we're not running any removal. We're just trying to assemble our own combo. And I'm just thinking Eldrazi Displacer is a little bit too greedy. With white, you also get Eerie Interlude, which is pretty sweet, again, if you go more of the Elvish Visionary route. But with the Whirler Rogues and Pia and Kiran Nalaar with Eerie Interlude, then you can exile them and bring them back. So even in response to like a board wipe, like a Languish, then you can Eerie Interlude, and then they interlude, and then they come back at the end of the turn, and you've just basically saved yourself from a Languish. So we might have to try that, a 4-color route. because again, Loam Dryad and Cryptolith Rite, that is so much mana fixing, especially with Pilgrim's Eye to get you that one of basic planes that you could run in the deck. And then Pilgrim's Eyes are another great way to flicker. So I don't know. Maybe we'll have to try it. We'll try 2 different versions of this. Instead of doing a daily, I'll just do some 2-man queues, and then we can throw in some Eldrazi Displacers to see if they're worthwhile. It also has pretty good synergy with our sideboard card with the Impact Tremors. Impact Tremors is whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Impact Tremor deals 1 damage to each opponent. So a Displacer with a Whirler Rogue is 3 damage every time you do that. With the Cryptolith Rite, again, it only costs 1 colorless mana, as the Thopters can immediately start tapping for mana if you have a Thopter Engineer or a Dragon Tempest out, and then you can just chain off after that. So again, maybe we'll have to try that. We'll try this version first, then we'll throw in some Battlefield Forges, try the Eldrazi Displacer Eerie Interlude version later on. Sideboard, I'm kind of all over the place. I thought I'd try some like Control Breakers with the mid-range Control Breakers with the Sarkhan Unbroken, Ulamog, and Dragonlord Atarka. Negates also for those type of matchups. Roast is really in here for Kalatas. Impact Tremors is just any deck that's vulnerable against Impact Tremors, we can throw them in, and then that can dish off a lot of damage. I don't know if 4 of is the right line of play. I think that maybe this is where we can cut some of these and then add more things that we can do, like Eerie Interludes in the sideboard for those Languish type decks. But that's kind of, I'm not expecting this deck to be like phenomenal. I'm hoping that we find enough synergies in this deck to make it worthwhile. Again, I am a synergy player. I like to consider myself liking to put a little piece of the puzzle together and try to make them interact. And these type of decks are they're easily my favorite way of actually playing Magic the Gathering. So anyway, we'll go ahead and queue this up in some either 2-man queues, or maybe we'll try it in a daily. Maybe we'll try the Eldrazi Displacer version on my channel. I don't know. We'll do a bunch of matchups with this. And I might have to edit this as we go along, because again, this is untested. You're going to see the deck right out the gates here and see how it plays against the metagame. Anyway, this has been Kevin with GatheringMagic.com. Thanks for watching.